Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're diving into something many of you probably know well. How to really learn English.
Mm-hmm.
You might be putting in the work, studying grammar, building vocab.
Right.
But actually speaking, understanding fluently, that leap can feel, well, frustratingly far off sometimes.
It really can. That's a super common feeling. And to help maybe break through that plateau, we've been looking into some practical ideas from Amit and Sarah over at English Talk Cafe.
Ah, yes.
They offer some, I think, really refreshing takes on why maybe those traditional school methods sometimes fall a bit short.
Right.
And more importantly, what you can actually do differently.
Exactly. So our mission here in this deep dive isn't just to list their tips.
No.
We want to dig into the why behind them, pull out the really actionable stuff you can use to make some real progress.
Sounds good.
So let's start right there, that feeling of being stuck. Why does that happen? Even when you feel like you're trying hard.
Well, one thing Amit and Sarah really highlight is this difference, right, between learning English like it's, say, history class.
Okay.
Versus learning as a tool, something for actual communication.
Ah, I see. So less academic theory.
Exactly. Think about how traditional learning often focuses so much on the rules. Grammar tables, memorize these words.
Yep, been there.
It's very structured, almost theoretical, you could say.
And you can ace the test on the past perfect.
Totally.
But then you're lost trying to follow just a normal chat about someone's weekend.
Precisely. It's like Sarah pointed out, just knowing the rules. That's not the same as being able to actually use the language on the fly.
Yeah.
And Amit mentioned, real conversation it's spontaneous. It's kind of unpredictable.
Mm-hmm.
It's got emotions. You have to navigate misunderstandings. And yeah, you make mistakes. Lots of them, probably.
Definitely.
So if all your learning was aimed at being perfect right from the start,
then the real world feels scary.
Exactly. That messiness feels overwhelming.
That makes total sense.
Huh.
I love Sarah's analogy about learning to swim.
Oh, yeah, that was great.
You can read the book about strokes and breathing.
Mm-hmm.
But until you actually jump in the pool, start flailing around, probably swallow some water.
Right. You're not really learning to swim.
Same with English, isn't it? You got to get in the water.
Absolutely. Which leads perfectly into their first big recommendation. Prioritize listening.
Okay.
And not just a little listening, lots of it.
So just surrounding yourself with the sound.
Yeah, the idea is that immersing yourself in the sounds, the rhythm, the flow, that's foundational. It's how we naturally pick up language. You got to train your ear first.
Even before you worry too much about speaking perfectly.
Right. They suggest things like, podcasts, obviously.
Sure.
YouTube, Netflix, music, whatever you enjoy, really. Just create that English bubble around you.
And they made a point, didn't they, about not needing to understand every single word.
Crucially, yes. Amit and Sarah both stress that, especially at the beginning.
That's reassuring.
It is. Because your brain is still working, It's absorbing sounds, patterns, even subconsciously. Think about how you learned your first language.
Right, you just heard it all the time.
For ages, long before you said your first proper word, it's a similar kind of process.
Okay. Now, they also mentioned a specific technique. Shadowing. What's that about?
Shadowing. Yeah, that's quite specific but powerful. Basically, you repeat exactly what you hear.
Like immediately after?
Immediately. You mimic everything, the pronunciation, the stress, the intonation, the rhythm.
So not just the words, but the music of it.
Precisely. Sarah used the example, "How are you doing today?" You don't just say the words. You try to copy the exact melody she used.
I see. So it connects listening directly to speaking.
It builds that bridge between your ear and your mouth.
Gotcha.
Helps you reproduce that natural flow.
Got it. Okay, so we're filling our ears, maybe trying some shadowing. Now, the big hurdle for many, actually speaking, that fear.
The fear of making mistakes.
What do Amit and Sarah suggest for getting over that?
This is where they suggest a big mindset shift.
Okay.
Instead of seeing mistakes as failures, see them as proof. Proof you're actually using the language.
Oh, I like that framing.
Yeah, Amit literally said something like, "Good, mistakes mean you're using it." Reframe them as just part of the deal. Necessary, even.
That really takes the pressure off, doesn't it? Because that fear of sounding silly or getting it wrong, it can just paralyze you.
Totally. And Sarah's analogy about the baby learning to walk.
Yes.
They fall down constantly, right? Stumble, wobble.
But they don't quit.
They don't quit. They just keep getting up, keep trying. Language is so similar, you need those little falls.
So embrace the wobbles.
Embrace the wobbles. And to actually build that speaking muscle, they have a really practical tip.
Oh, yeah.
Talk to yourself.
Out loud.
Out loud. Describe what you're doing during the day. Okay, now I'm making coffee. All right, I need to check my emails.
Huh. Feels a bit weird, maybe, but I can see how that works.
It's like a totally private practice zone, zero pressure, zero judgment.
You just get used to forming the sentences, hearing your own voice say English words.
Exactly. Sarah described it as building fluency like any other muscle, small, consistent daily reps.
Little and often.
Little and often. And then they sort of expand on this, suggesting ways to weave English more naturally into your life.
Ah, so it's not just study time anymore.
Right. Make it part of your lifestyle. Simple things like changing your phone language to English.
Oh, that's a good one. Brave, maybe.
Yeah. Or writing your shopping lists, your to-do lists in English. Following social media accounts that post in English.
So just increasing the touch points throughout the day.
Exactly. And it all adds up. Reading signs on the street, menus in restaurants, even, those silly internet memes.
Every little bit helps normalize it.
It does. Makes it less foreign. And Sarah had another great suggestion. Journaling.
In English?
Yeah, just like 3 to 5 sentences each night. About your day, your thoughts, whatever.
That sounds manageable. And it gets you thinking in English, right? Not just translating.
Yeah. That's the key benefit, I think. It's a low-stakes way to start actually constructing thoughts in the language.
I like that. Now, something else that really stood out from their chat was making it enjoyable.
Oh, definitely. Leveraging your own interests.
How does that boost learning?
Well, it just makes sense, doesn't it? Learning is way more effective when it connects to something you actually care about.
Sure.
So, like Amit and Sarah said, if you love movies, watch them in English. If you're into cooking, find English recipe channels on YouTube.
Connect your hobbies to the language.
Yes, because when you're genuinely interested, you're more motivated. And as Sarah pointed out, you remember stuff better.
Because it's linked to something meaningful.
Exactly. New words, phrases, they stick because they're part of something you enjoy. That story Emmett told about his friend learning English.
Through video games.
Yeah. Playing online games, interacting with other players. It's a fantastic example of how passion just fuels learning.
You're not forcing yourself through boring textbooks.
Right. You're learning almost by accident because you're having fun. Makes it way more sustainable.
Okay, so enjoy the process. But language is communication. You do need other people eventually, right?
Absolutely. That's still a vital piece. They really emphasize the benefits of practicing with others.
Even short chats.
Even short conversations make a huge difference. And importantly, they clarified, you don't only have to practice with native speakers.
Oh, it's good to know. Practicing with other learners is okay too.
Totally valuable. Amit and Sarah pointed out you get mutual support, It's often less intimidating.
Shared struggle.
Kind of. You can encourage each other, learn from each other's common mistakes even. And finding partners is easier now, right?
Yeah, they mentioned apps.
Hello Talk, Tandem, things like that. Plus Facebook groups, language exchange communities online. Lots of options.
And they even threw out some less obvious ideas.
Yeah, like leaving comments on YouTube videos in English.
Or starting your own channel.
Yeah.
Even if no one watches.
Yeah. Amit suggested that. Takes guts, maybe.
A little bit.
But his point was, even if it's just for you, the act of creating content in English, planning what to say, structuring it, saying it, that's amazing practice.
Forces you to produce the language.
Exactly. Now, finally, they touched on something really important, often overlooked.
Which is?
Being kind to yourself. Self-compassion.
Because it's not always easy.
That's really not. They stress that language learning is a long game. It has ups.
And definite downs.
Definitely downs. Days you feel great. Days you feel like you can't string 2 words together. And that's just normal.
It's not a straight line up.
Not at all. Sarah's point about consistency over perfection is key here. If you show up every day, she said, you'll get there.
Just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
Pretty much. Just keep engaging with English somehow, every day, even if it's small.
And Amit finished with that nice reminder, didn't he? About acknowledging how far you've come.
Yeah, that was great. Like, if you're listening to this deep dive right now, you're already engaging with English.
Good point. It's easy to only see the mountains still ahead.
Right. Gotta appreciate the progress already made.
Okay, so let's try and quickly recap those key takeaways from Amit and Sarah.
Sure. So 1, listen daily. Lots of it.
2, speak out loud, even just to yourself. Start flexing that muscle.
3, weave English into your normal day. Phone, lists, signs.
4, learn through things you actually like. Hobbies, interests.
5, practice with other humans, learners or native speakers. Find those connections.
And 6,